Hey folks, all right, today for you I have Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones. Now this is in an open G tuning. Keith Richards found this open G tuning and wrote like 12 hit songs in like a year or something. So anyway, what we have is we got to drop the E down to D, we got to drop the A down to G, and then the D, the G, the B all stay the same, and we got to drop the little E down to a D. So we end up with a G chord, open G chord. Now what Keith Richards does is he actually didn't want this big D here because he wants G to be his lowest bass note all the time so he can hit all the strings. That's when you see him with no hands hitting all the strings. That's when he's got a 5-string, he had a 5-string guitar made, probably dozens of them by now, but he had the 6th string removed so that you only have the 5 strings. The lowest note you have is a G because a lot of these things he wrote were in G. Sometimes he'd put a capo on to get in a different key. So what we got here is we're gonna have this. We have the 5 on these 4 strings here, the A, D, G, and B. That's gonna be our like C chord. And we're gonna come into this F chord, which is gonna be, so we're gonna have the 7 on the D and the 6 on the B added to those notes. So it ends up being 5, 7, 5, 6. So we got, okay, so that beginning is, and the reason I did it up there is because it's on the and of the 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's ahead of the beat. See that? So 2, 3, 4. So what you have on the second one is, right? And you got to keep that bar tight. So when you come out, you hear all those 5s that we want. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now our next part. So what we have here is like 3, 3, and 3 from the A, D, and G. And we got this 5 coming in on the D string. So we got, so you can also bring in a 4th fret on the B string here, so it ends up being like that same shape we had over here. So sometimes you can make it more rock and roll sounding with that, and then sometimes you make it a fuller chord sound with both of those. So let's try it. And on these Stones tunes, you really kind of do, you mix it up all the time. You never do it the same. So you kind of use your own feeling and decide if you want it to go more rock and roll or if you like that high note, and mix it up. Sometimes do one, sometimes do the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then the verse would start. We're gonna do that same stuff for a while. There's a couple fills to talk about. Now the second guitar comes in with the thing. So that comes in after like the first few chords. It's like. Okay, so that's like Ron Wood's part. So it's like 3, 2 on the A, big 5, 5 on the A, and then 2 and 5 into that 3 and 5 power chord there. So we got. So sometimes you'll hear that big power chord after the other riff stops. So that's another cool thing to add. That's like a Ron Wood part too. So let's look at the verse. So we had 2 times that whole riff thing, and then we're gonna have the verse. Two more of these. Okay, so for the chorus, we have the C, all those 5s, up to the 10s. Then we're gonna slide these 8s, and it's mostly like these top 3 strings of the chord there. Sliding the 8s to the 7s back to the 5. So So the chorus would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we kind of have the C to F 3 times. Now this time, so we kind of had that da da dee down like 3 times, and then 2 of those kind of slidey things. Back to the main riff. Next verse. And then we have a fill here after this. So that's gonna be those 5s on the D, G, and B, and we're hammering into that 7th fret of the D string again and the 6th fret of the B. So it's like 2 hammer-ons. It's like a hammer-on pull-off to another hammer-on. And then you got. So he's got one of those rock and roll kind of bendy things. So he's got the 8th fret of the G. And he's got the 6 down here on the B string. And does that riff again. So that the whole verse on that one is like. Part. Next verse. One more. Chorus. Next part. So here's the kind of the last fill. You got a big bend on this 5th fret of the D string. You got that 6th fret F there of the B string. And then it just kind of slides back to its original note on that G there. Okay, so that's basically the whole thing. Kind of does that a few times, fades out. So let's take a look at these riffs one more time through. So once again, we have these 5s on the A, D, G, and B string, coming into the 7 on the D string with the 6 on the B. Start with the upbeat, like I said. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got either that rock and roll one, or you can add the 4. And then we had some fills. We had, and you can also do like a chord thing every now and again. You could also do like that 2-5 to the 3-5. Let's look at the chorus one more time. And we're we're sliding the A, D, and G strings from that 8 to 7 and back. And then when you get to the next part, you got that 2 slides. Look at those other fills right here. You get that. All right, Start Me Up by the Rolling Stones. Next up, I'm going to have another one in G tuning, which is going to be Tumbling Dice. We'll see you for that. Thanks a lot. All right, this is going to be another Stones lesson, Rolling Stones. This is going to be Tumbling Dice. This one is also in open G, so you need to detune your big E down to a D, and your A down to a G, and your little E down to a D as well. Then we got a capo on the 4th fret, so make sure you get tuned up. This will sound a lot better. You always got to tune up a bit when you use your capo. Okay, so we got this first little riff. Okay, so we have the 2 on the 3rd string and the 1 on the 2nd string with the open. And we're sliding into the 4 and the 3 here, and then back, and then to the opens. Now here we have the 2 on the D with the G string to the open on both, and then we've got the 2 on the A string sliding up to the 4 and back, and it goes open there. So we got here we get into a little rock and roll honky tonk thing where we got the A string, the D, and the G. So 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. We're going to bring in the 2nd fret on that D string. So that's our basic rock and roll kind of honky tonk vibe on that. So once again, we got that little intro fill. Okay, so that was 4 times through that. So that's going to be the length of the verse also. So let's figure the verse starts here. 3, 4. Okay, so that cool fill is up here on the 11th fret. We'd call it the 7th fret because of our capo, but it's actually, you could look at it as the 11th. Now we've got this A, D, G, and B strings, and we're bringing in this 13th fret of the D string and 12th fret of the B string to the opens, and we're trying to not really hit the bottom one or the top one. We're trying to hit those 4 particular strings. Now here we have the same type of shape. We have the 2 on the D and the 1 on the B, kind of pulling that one off. So again. Now we're going to come 2 frets below that one, so that's actually your 9th fret, but it looks like kind of 5th with the capo. So, and they kind of mix it up each time, but it just brings in that other same chord shape and comes back up to the other chord shape. So we got. Next verse. Got those 4 times. So I kind of do that different each time, so you can kind of feel it out and do what you want there. That's what they did. They never really do things exactly the same, you know. So we got next verse. Now we're kind of trying to, if you hit that B, it's no big deal, but we're kind of trying to avoid that. See, that's a little bit more rock and roll if I don't hit that note. Back to the high part. Okay, now this time we have. So we got like a, we're gonna hammer into this 2 on the G string with the 1 on the 2nd string. And then we got that 2 and open on the D and G to the opens there. We got that 2, 4, 2 open a couple times. And they can do a little hammer on to the G kind of note. So when we get into this fill after that 3rd verse and change, we got the groove. Only 2 times there, and then the next verse starts. So here goes the next verse. You got your 4 times. High riff. Next verse. And then we got that fill. So 2 times on that one we got. And you can kind of have that open and 1 on that chord. Now we have the groove 6 times. This is a solo, so it's like 2nd one, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and then we got the high chord. So when you do that solo bit, it goes to the chord thing, not that little fill thing. So this last verse is going to have the fills after this verse and change. We're going to have those fills like all the way out. So we got last verse. High part. Fill. So some of these fills have the quick one, and some of them kind of wait. These first 3 at the end of the song, they wait, so they're like a later type thing. See how I don't slide into that note? I wait until like that new beat. So we got 3 of these. And then the drums come in and we start hitting the quicker thing. And then we can get into this double string thing. So that's the A string and the G string doing the 2, 4, 2 kind of slide back and forth. So it fades out doing that. So let's take a look at everything real quick. So we got the intro. We got our groove. So we got 4 of those, and we got the first verse. Then we got that high thing. Once again, that's on the 11th fret, and it's all those 11s, 5th string, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And we're going into that typical Stonesy Keith Richards type of shape. Opens, and then same shape down here. Like I say, we're going basically for the 4 middle strings. If you hit that little bottom one, it doesn't really matter too much, but. we come to this 2 frets lower than that. So that's basically those main parts, the verse and the change type thing. Then we got our fills. We got. So the first one goes right back into the groove. The second one goes twice. And then at the end of the song, we got the one that kind of waits. And then we switch it. Double notes. Okay, so that was Tumbling Dice by the Stones in open G. All right, Can't You Hear Me Knocking by the Rolling Stones. This is going to be Keith Richards parts in open G. So we got D, we don't really use this string much. D, G, and then D, G, B, and then D. So we got this intro, we got some sliding double stops and stuff. We got. So that's our first riff. That's a mouthful right there. So the first note, we're gonna have a rest on the first eighth note. We're gonna go. Yeah, that's gonna be the middle 10s to 9s and then 7s. Now we're gonna have 3 strings, the A, D, and G, pulling off all the 9s to the 7s. And then go to the 10s. And then slide the 10s down to the 9s, and then we're gonna have 7s. We're gonna pop in this 9 right here on the D string. Okay, that's part of a D chord right there, so we're popping into that little, that's a B note right there. So we got. So once again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So. Now at the end of this one, we're gonna go. So that new measure will have like a rest on the 1 again. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, that kind of thing. So we got. Do that little riff again, and then we have. So that one has a rest and then the 10s in the middle. And then another rest to the 7 on the A string. And then it's the G string now, but you know. Then we got to pull off 9s to 7s in the middle. And then 10s to 9s slide. Back to that riff. So we got. So here we just had a straight. We kind of end on a little higher 7s than that. Now here we're going to bend these 9s up a half step each, the 2 middle ones. And at the end of that measure, the last 2 little 8th notes, 7s with a hammer into the 9. And then, now this one will go those 3 7s there to the big 9 here and back. Kind of slide down. Then we have this. That thing again. And then it kind of ends with. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Now we're into this verse thing. We got these 5s. Okay, so we do these bottom 7s to the 5s. And then jump up a set and do the 7s to 5s. So. Slide up in here, and then there's different riffs. Got a little riff in here for the one in between. Open to 4 in the A string, the G string now. And then open 5, and then 3 open, 5 open. So this new part, the verse, we got. can kind of improvise your own little things in there. Now, eventually, we're going to get into the chorus here. We got. So basically, you got the 4 middle strings all opens up to the 10th fret. 5th fret and open. You got a little fill you could do. It's like 1 and 2 and 3. So O 2 4 on the 5th string. Open 5 down here. So we got. Kind of hit a D chord here, then we're going to have this new part. At least that's as close as I can figure out. So I got 2 and 3 here going up 1. That's the D and the G string. So, and then we have 6 and 5 on the G and B, going into 7 and 6. And then we have a 7 and 8 here. Kind of hit that open G with a little bit. And then go back to those 2 notes. So we got 3, 4. So it's a tricky little riff. Now our next part, you could kind of finger pick. It gets kind of like, it's like D chord. You could kind of do a D open there. Put in the 2. Put in the 3. Kind of experiment with doing your own little finger picking in there. You could even get that 5 in there. So it's fun to just kind of experiment, just finger picking those particular few little notes because it kind of just drones on with different notes on top. Okay, then for the solo, it's kind of like a D minor, but we have this tuning, so you could kind of play around still in this tuning and mess around with the solo. So where you would normally go to this little 10, you got to do a 12 right here. So at one point he has a, which would normally be like one of those, 13 to 10. He gets into some cool blues stuff with like a. So I put a few licks in there. You might have a. So listen for stuff like that and do a little messing around with your D minor pentatonic there. So where normally we'd have a 13-10, you got to go 15-12 for that one. Okay, so then that gets into some riffs like. So we got 10, 11, 12 on the D string, 10 on the G, and back to that 12. So, and it does that one a long time, and then starts going, getting the chord. So as it builds, he'll start bringing in the 12th fret one too. And then we have this outro riff. We have. So this is 7-4, 7-5, 7-7, 7-5, 7-5, 7. So. Okay, so 3 times on the 4th time. Okay, and I'm not doing his lead in this one. I showed you just some licks and stuff. Maybe I'll do another lesson and talk all about kind of the extra parts of this tune and maybe just the solo. So let's take a look at the intro one more time. We got... So you get it, and then we got the... We had that riff. We had the little notes. And then we had like the... how the pentatonic minor is a little different. This tuning and stuff. All right, can't you hear me knocking? Rolling Stones, thanks for watching. Talk to y'all soon. Okay, so this is going to be a lesson on Painted Black by the Rolling Stones. Let's talk about the beginning riff with the little fill. I just started out with the E minor chord, and then they get into a riff. This isn't exactly how Keith Richards plays it, I don't believe, but this is how I've been playing it for years and years, and I think it's an easy and effective way. There's probably a tricky or some kind of mysterious, magical way that he did it that makes it sound like super cool, but this is a cool way to do it, and it's pretty easy. So we got the E minor chord. We can start out with like a part of the chord or some low end, but then we're gonna go. So really easy. It's just open, open, 2 open, 3 open, 5 open, 3 open, 2 open, open, open. So sometimes I'll go like this. I'll mute the A string, but I'll put that note on that E right there so I can get part of that lower kind of E chord, but still have a finger ready to start doing that riff. That's how I like to kind of do it. Okay, so that was the whole first part. Now we got to come over here and get this. So we got 5-4, 4-4, so you're barring to the 7, and you can either hit that note by itself. I kind of hit a little chord there on that one. So So that was a double hammer on 2, 4, 5, 2, and then a double pull off 5, 4, 2, and then a little half step up and down with a little vibrato. Hit that E minor again. Okay, so let's do that one more time on that one. Okay, so that's that whole riff. That goes like twice and it sets you up for the chords in the singing part. So he sings over that first part to get the verse going, then they have these changes. So you're gonna have E minor twice, D twice, G twice, D twice, then E minor. That's how we did it in a band that I was in, Whitewater Ramble. So it's not exactly like the record either. That's where you can, as a band, you can kind of make things a little different, put your own little spin on a riff or something. Or you could try to listen to the record a lot and try to get that riff exactly how they do it. So once again, E minor, D, G to D, and then E minor with a little riff on it. D, G to D. Now this time you're going A twice as long to B7. So let's try that again. So it's E minor, D, G to D, E minor, couple times, and then a little riff. Da 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 da. And then E minor, D, G to D. Then this time A twice as long as those were to the B7. 2 1 2 0 2. If you haven't done that one in a minute. So let's try to play those chords on that part right there. 2 3 and 1 2 3 4 1. And then you go back to the riff for the next verse. Okay, so the other thing that happens on this is we have a chord progression. Later on, E minor to B7. Now here's where we can use the harmonic minor scale. So let's talk about that. So we have the E harmonic minor scale. So a normal minor scale for E would have those notes: E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. But we're going to have a D sharp instead of a D. That's part of that B7 chord. So that note is especially important when we're on the B7 chord. It's not going to sound as good against that E minor, but it sounds real good on the B7. So sometimes you might avoid it a little bit so you can drop it over that B7. So let's talk a little bit about that E harmonic minor scale. This is what you're going to play over the E minor to B7, or your E minor to B7, wherever you want to do it down there. But let's look at the scale here. It's going to start in the 7th fret of the A string. 7, 9, 10 starts out like a minor scale, but where you would go like this, we have a major 7 there, a sharp 7. So let's take a look at that. 7, 9, 10 on the A, 7, 9, 10 on the D, 8 and 9. Then we can add one note down here. Let's add that 6 and come back. So I'm going to play some chords. How about you guys just try to play just these notes in any order you want. Just realize this one thing, that 8 right there, that's the one that you want to wait for the second chord if you can, because that's going to be in that chord and it's going to be different to the sound of the other chord. I'm going to play these chords: E minor 7 or E minor 7 or E minor to B7, and then you can just play this scale. Maybe you got that one down here, but this is your E. So maybe start out on that one. You know, do some stuff around until you hear that B7. Start using that D sharp note when the B7 chord comes in, because that will really accentuate that chord, and that's a chord tone at that time, they call that, you know. And it's an exceptional chord tone for this progression because it's not related to the first chord really in any way. So let's try that. 2 3 Here goes the B7. Now you might lay off of that D sharp note. Now play it a little bit in this one. So let's add some notes to that now. So we have, let's also go up here. So we have 7, 8, 10, and then 7, 8, 11, and 12. And that 11 is the octave of that other one, so that's the special note. Playing off of that over that B7 sounds real extra cool. Okay, so let's look at those notes again. 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 8, 9, 7, 8, 10, 7, 8, 11, 12. Let's walk that down. 12 and 11, that's our special note for the B7. 8, 7, 10, 8, 7, 10, 8, 10, 9, 7, 10, 9, 7, 6. Now let's add a couple more just for fun. We got the 8 and the 7 up here. And that's the B note right there, so that'd be a cool one. You get on that B7 chord, but if you want to come back up to the root, remember that's our E. That's the E that goes with that E minor chord. So let's try that some more. You got your extra notes. So we got two, three, and. So you see how I'm doing that kind of thing? Like this note here is a B note too, so that's part of like the B major chord, which is part of this B7 thing that's happening. So when I end up like a, each one of those is part of that B chord. So, and they all have a note right next to them. If you're on the E minor, like say here was some notes from E minor. So I was going like 8, 7, 9. Kind of like filibustering there to wait to like drop that dude. And when I went to that one, that one sounded cool because it's still part of that B chord. So these are things that are all really fun to check out when you're trying to use this mode of harmonic minor. So that would be like an E note. Let's see, that's that special note for the B7. So you can get into, I had a little riff that I would do sometimes like. You know, you get a bunch of effects and stuff going. That can sound pretty cool. So anyway, let's look at maybe another spot. Here's the open position. 0, 2, 3, 0, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. 0, 2, 0, 1, 4, 0, 2, 3. That's kind of a crazy one. So just remember, it's the only sharps are F sharp and D sharp. So we got E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and then we got the D sharp to E. And then E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D sharp, E, F sharp, G. So how about trying that one? 2, 3, and. Alright, so I was in a bluegrass band and we did this, and they would play stuff really super fast, so it'd be like. Almost becomes like a Hava Nagila kind of thing. So anyway, I'll give you a little shot to the little solo one down here. ideas. See, that's some notes there, the B7, so if you finish out on one of those off a little riff. So those are the main notes of the E minor. You know, play a normal E minor, 2, 4, 5 right there. And here's part of the B chord there, and you get the B7. All right, hope you dug that. Painted Black, Rolling Stones, one of the classics of all time. Amazing chances to have fun with that progression, the E minor to B7 and in the harmonic minor mode. So enjoy yourselves with that. Please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.